Hello and welcome to the screencast of the parent information session regarding the extra summer school program taking place at Oakwood Elementary in the summer of 2012. Before we get started, I want to show you a way that you could provide us with feedback. And I also want to apologize because part of the bottom of the screen is cut off by the free web-based tool I'm using, screencast-o-matic.com. It's free, so it's great, but the drawback is it cuts off just a little bit of the screen. So I apologize in advance for that. The purpose of this first screen here is what was up when parents first walked in to our information night about the summer program. This provides you with a unique way to give feedback on some questions that we posed at the top of the screen here. The way that it works is if you're a text messenger, you can, in the to space in your text message where you'd normally put a phone number, you would put this phone number, 87884. And before you start typing, you would type in this code where you're going to put your normal message at LOCA 74974. That's LOCA 74974 with the @ sign in front. Then you type what you want to respond with to the questions with and hit send, and it's done. If you were at the parent information meeting, the live version, what you would have seen is these things pop up as parents respond. It's kind of a really pretty neat way to provide feedback. A big part of grant funding is requesting and utilizing parent feedback on the types of programmings that we're offering and giving parents an opportunity to participate in that programming. So that's why we're asking for feedback. Plus, it's just really kind of a neat way to get a meeting started. So the two questions I'd like you to consider as you're watching the screencast is what do you want your child to gain as a result of the extra summer program? And what do the teachers in the program need to do to make that happen? If you're not a text messenger, feel free to send me an email. My name is Andrew Phillips, and you'll see my contact information a little bit later. And if you want to, I think you can hit pause, and this screen will stay up for you, and you could respond. So the rest of the PowerPoint will be focused on the Brandon School District's Extra Summer Math and Language Arts program. This is the same PowerPoint that was presented at the information evening for parents regarding the same program. My name again is Andrew Phillips, and for this year I'm the state and federal program specialist and curriculum trainer. Next year I'm very excited to be the principal of Harvey Swanson Elementary. So this program is grant funded, and we'll get into that right now. Many school districts receive state and federal grants intended only to provide supplemental support to students that need it most. That's what the grants we'll be talking about today are designed to do. The purpose of this screencast is to inform you of which grants we're using, how we're using them, and how you can support the learning going on extra with your child at home. The idea being that if you take the time to know what's going on at the extra summer program, maybe you can do some things at home to provide even more supplemental support to your child. We're going to really get into here in the next few minutes what state grants and it's one grant, what state and federal grant we're using to fund the program, and really what supplemental support means. So, for your information, Harvey Swanson and Oakwood both receive funds from the Title I grant. This is a federal grant, so it comes from the United States government. The Title I grant, you have to appropriate your resources directly to schools. In our case, the only schools that get Title I funds are Harvey Swanson and Oakwood. No other schools in our district get any money from our Title I grant. All three elementaries receive funds from the state from the Section 31A grant, which is a grant we receive from the state of Michigan. And besides all three elementaries, actually every program in our district receives some sort of funding from Section 31A. Both grants, and I say all of these grants, but really it's both of these grants are for the sole purpose of providing supplemental services to eligible students. So they can't really be used, Title I a little bit, but the other, really, there's the sole intent is to provide extra service to students that qualify, that are eligible. Sometimes you'll hear at risk, sometimes you'll hear eligible. I like to say students that need it the most. And we'll get more into that as well as we get into the PowerPoint here. The Extra Summer Program is 100% grant funded with a combination of funds from the Title I grant and the 31A grant. As long as you're serving Title I students and students that qualify for 31A supplemental support, you can combine those two funds. Other things funded during the school year with these grants, just so you know, and can kind of maybe wrap your head around what the intent is, it kind of really comes out here. Our academic interventionists, which we had going on for the 11-12 school year, from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, those were funded by the 31A grant. Reading recovery teachers, reading recovery is a support on top of a child's normal language arts program. So again, on top of, in addition to, it's reading recovery, and that's a really high leverage strategy, and we have some highly trained, effective teachers delivering that. They're funded with a combination of 31A and Title I, and one of them is funded with all 31A. Another thing is time for teachers to study data and plan instruction. Professional development for teachers can't be 31A, so at Harvey Swanson and Oakwood, some of our professional development is funded by the Title I grant. The idea being that teachers are sent to learn how to best instruct students with the highest quality instruction, especially students that need it the most. Our extra after-school programming was all Title I funded because it took place only at Harvey Swanson and Oakwood. The materials for extra and for many other things, especially for reading recovery and a lot of materials at Oakwood are Title I grant funded. Oakwood is what's known as a school-wide Title I program. Harvey Swanson was called a Targeted Assistance Program for this current 11-12 school year, and recently was selected or qualified to be a school-wide program as well. Difference being that targeted assistance means your funds have to only be used for eligible students, whereas school-wide programming, you can do school-wide reform strategies and leverage the funds just a little bit easier. And of course, there are more things that I'm not listing here that we fund with these grants as well. So when we talk about supplemental services, I think the thing that makes it easiest to understand or think about is you have some bodybuilding supplements here, and you have just regular old Flintstones vitamins here. Supplements, right? So they're things that are on top of. So Flintstones vitamin, those would be things that would be on top of a child's normal, healthy diet. But they might give them a little bit more vitamins, nutrients, in this case some iron, that would maybe help them have a complete nutritious diet. These bodybuilding proteins and supplements, so a bodybuilder has a normal workout, and if they want to even increase the benefits of that workout, they take supplements. Which, if this is one person that takes these supplements, holy smokes, that's a lot. So for our case, supplemental services are those services provided above and beyond normal classroom instructional time. If you think of after-school programming, our after-school programming was all reading, and that was above and beyond the reading instruction going on in the classroom. The interventionist, they were supposed to take kids only when the instruction for which their intervention was intended wasn't going on at that time. So the idea is students are receiving their normal instruction in the classroom, and then in addition to are being provided this supplemental support. After school and summertime are great and easy ways to provide these supplemental supports because, of course, school's not in session, so it'll be on top of what's already happened. So we'll take some time here to talk about the philosophy, the overall program philosophy of Extra. If you came to some after-school information meetings, if you're not a Bell-Ann, or if you are a Bell-Ann parent, you wouldn't have, but if you're a Harvey Swanson or Oakwood parent, I presented some informational sessions. A lot of this stuff will be repetitive, but that's a good thing. Well, I guess it's a good thing if you're on my side of the computer, and maybe not such a great thing if you've heard a lot of this stuff before. But what it means to me is that we're continually improving upon a great start rather than starting over each time. And we're going to make this better and better and better every time, as long as we're just making small changes rather than complete program changes. So the fact that we're sticking to one philosophy, which really bases itself on the philosophy that we teach with on a daily basis, I think it's a very good thing. So again, more of our philosophy, think of learning being like running. We all run at different rates. And if you've ever been inside of a classroom, or if you have memories of when you were a student, you know that people learn at different rates. Some people learn at a rate way ahead of the normal population. Some learn at a rate at pretty normal population. Maybe they'd be in the pack in a race, and some learn at a different rate, a rate that might take a little bit longer. Our real and true primary goal at any kind of extra programming that we do is to get all of our students, all of our learners to the finish line. It just might take some a little while longer. That's why this idea of supplemental support, I think, lends itself really well to learning being like running. They're going to get a little bit extra time and support to get to that finish line. And once they're at that finish line, hopefully they can stay in that pack and even maybe get a little bit ahead of the pack. As we were researching the program, really quite a few teachers got together and did a book study on how we could improve our services to kids that need it the most. And what we kind of came to the conclusion of is that to close a learning gap, they need these things. First, they need extra time. Again, if you think of learning like running, sometimes we all need to finish. It just might take us a little bit longer to get there. So the great thing about this summertime or after school time is that it's all extra. It's in addition to the normal school day. And when the kids that may be a little bit behind are getting that extra time, that might provide them what they need to catch up. And that's also something as parents that you should really think about when it might. I know sometimes it's a struggle to get kids to want to read at home or do a little bit of extra work at home, or any extra time that you get them to be on task, doing things that they can do all by themselves independently. It's time that they're catching up. The next thing in order of importance on closing that learning gap is extra time and then extra small group high quality instruction. So again, our racers to the finish line of learning, it might take extra time, and it might also take some extra individual or small group instruction. And that's what the extra summer program is all about. Another huge part of our philosophy is that students need to be motivated and engaged. In the summertime, their students and parents and teachers are used to having breaks, nice long extended break. And so it might not be the most fun thing to do to come to the extra program. But what we can promise is that when they get there, we're going to have a bunch of stuff that'll hopefully make them, it'll guarantee that they'll be engaged, and it will really hopefully motivate them as well. The first thing is we'll have lots and lots of high interest, just right books. Just right means it's at a student's independent reading level. It means when they pick the book up, they're not struggling through each page. They're able to read it just like a normal independent adult would read a book. They're enjoying the story. So we have lots of those things. Students also understand what level they are, and all of our books in the extra program are labeled and leveled. So kids can pick out the books that they know will be just right for them. We have lots of them on hand because we spend a lot of time, just like I know the iPad is a very exciting thing and kids are all excited about it, but we spend a lot of time making sure that this would be almost as exciting to kids as this. But the iPads are a really cool thing to keep kids motivated and engaged, and we have lots and lots of apps on them, both with math and reading language arts. And that's what we call the latest technology, intended to keep kids motivated and engaged. And we have nourishment. It's really hard to stay motivated and engaged if your fuel tank is empty. And so later on in our presentation, we will get more into what kinds of nourishment we'll be providing and how that's funded as well. I'm going to be recording these sessions in 15-minute blocks, and my first 15-minute block is almost up. I'm going to stop this screencast and start a new one momentarily. So session 2 will be the continuation of this first session.